A drought of funding hit many metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies in the northern region, with the result being an imminent shutdown of government administrative offices.
The past 9 months, no common fund money has freezed in it. So if you have targeted that funding that is be funded by a particular, because a project starts based on the funding source, then you can't pay them because the fund source is not yet in. The fund is not yet in, so you can pay. So that becomes a halt the project until it's paid for.
And Joy News can confirm that debts are piling up and the assemblies, which have been living on credit for months now, have lost their credit worthiness and are being turned away by service providers such as fuel stations. This is today's big story. And now, thanks so much for staying there for us. Now, officials of the Metropolitan, Municipal and District Assemblies do not want the names of the assemblies to be published for fear of political victimization. The situation is so dire that it has compelled district chief executives and coordinating directors to go into hiding to avoid their creditors. The assemblies are unable to honor their commitment to students who are benefiting from some limited scholarship. The students may have to defer their courses of study because they are unable to pay their school fees. The officials are blaming the situation on government's consistent failure to release their statutory district assemblies common fund. Now, this comes weeks after some members of parliament expressed frustration and threatened to boycott parliamentary sittings over the decision by government to freeze their HIPIC accounts without their notice. According to the MPs, government has also failed to pay their share of statutory funds, including the Health Fund, District Assembly's Common Fund, the Ghana Education Trust Fund. Now, we've been trying hard to speak to other people, but the District Chief Executive for the Owutu Senya East Municipal Assembly in the Central Region confessed earlier to Joy News that assembly projects are being abandoned as a result of lack of funds. Let's listen to him.
For the past 9 months, no common fund money has freezed in it. So if you have targeted that funding that is be funded by a particular, because a project starts based on the funding source. So I'm doing this project, I'll fund it from either SIF, I'm funding from Eduna, funding from Common Fund. So you expect that the money comes and you pay those people. There is a certificate and you can't pay them because the fund source is not yet in. The fund is not yet in, so you can't pay. So that becomes a halt the project until it's paid for.
Right, so this is the Municipal Chief Executive for the Owutu Senya East Municipality. The situation in the southern part of the country is also not too good, but in the northern region, it is a dire situation. Assemblies are nearly shutting down because of that situation. Let me speak to our correspondent, Mohammed Hashmin there. Now, Mohammed, thanks so much for joining us. Now, we know that officials of the assemblies are virtually running away from their creditors. What more can you tell us on this situation?
Well, thank you very much, Bright. The situation is just that a series of failed attempts by the assembly to honor their obligation to these creditors has necessitated this worry and this development. And the situation is so bad that the newly created districts, if you look at it, they have made their own arrangements with fuel station managers so that they can take fuel on credit.
Right.
Now, they have taken it to a level that the fuel stations themselves can no longer provide fuel for them to be able to fuel their vehicle to go about the daily administration of the district. And if you know the northern region very, very well, almost all the district assemblies perform very poorly in terms of generating their own revenue to be able to support themselves. So they rely heavily on the district assembly common fund. And if you go to the assemblies, the people that you can only see are the secretaries to the coordinating directors and then the district chief executive. And then consistently, people who go there, contractors and other service providers, they have always been told that the district chief executives and their coordinators have been on the workshop in Accra. But the problem is, for how long will they continue to be on the will they continue to use workshop as an excuse to be able to deceive their creditors.
Right. Hasmin, hold the line for me. Let me speak to Dr. Kalistus Mahama. He's the head of the local government service. He's just joined this discussion. Dr. Mahama, thanks so much for joining us. Now, first of all, the assembly seemed to be running into some trouble. Parliament, members of Parliament complained about government's inability to pay them some statutory funds. The assemblies are now beginning to feel the pinch. This is certainly not good for governance at the grassroots level when we're trying to really make it the fulcrum of governance in the country.
Well, it appears you are even jumping to conclusion. I have read the report of your correspondent.
Right.
And let me say that I think there is a bit of exaggeration in this report. I wanted him to name the districts that he actually visited, and then we can narrow the discussion. You see, first of all, you have to understand the different sources of revenue to the district assemblies.
Right.
Offhead, the District Assembly Common Fund is just one of the many sources. Then we have the direct transfers from Ministry of Finance. We have the DDF, which is also transferred from the Ministry of Local Government, and then the Urban Development Grant, which also comes from the World Bank, and then the IGF, which is an internal arrangement for assemblies to be able to generate their funds. Now, if you take the District Assembly Common Fund, which your correspondent was making reference to, again, you have to appreciate how the system is run. I know that the fourth quarter was paid to all district assemblies in April. All district assemblies received their fourth quarter payments in April.
Dr. Mahama, let's clarify that. You're saying that the fourth quarter district assemblies common fund.
If you understand how the district assembly common fund is run, it's always in arrears of not less than 1 quarter.
Right.
Because the revenue agencies have to mobilize the entire national revenue, the taxable ones, and then we are in a better position to be able to calculate 7.5% of it. So if we don't exhaust one particular quarter, we will not be able to know what the national revenue is. So by design, the DACF is always in arrears.
Right. So
now, coming back to the first point,
can we clarify this point? So what we need to understand here is that we are just entering the last quarter of the year, and so MMDAs have not or will not receive their district assemblies common fund allocation for the last quarter. That is what you're saying.
Until the following year. Until the following year, they will not receive it the year under question.
Right.
That's how the system is designed.
Right.
Then the first quarter for this year, I know 2 weeks ago, all district assemblies 2 weeks ago received the first quarter of this year, except where the assemblies don't have district chief executives. So arrangements are now being put together with the regional ministers to see how best the resources can be transferred.
Right.
As far as we are concerned, all assemblies who have their districts have received their first quarter. Then point number 2. The Ministry of Finance has also transferred the direct transfers to all the departments in the assembly for the first quarter as far back as June. And then the second quarter is also going to release October. I haven't said that the DDF, the District Development Facility,
right,
which is even bigger than the DACF, all assemblies have received their funds except the 2% investment fund, which is yet to be released. But all assemblies which qualified or which have passed the assessment have all received their transfers. Then we come to the Urban Development Grant, which is only restricted to the metropolitan and municipal assemblies. Now, this is a World Bank funded program, and it is a special arrangement in the sense that when assemblies pass the FOAT, monies under the UDG are not transferred like the way we transfer block grants.
Right.
Assemblies have to put in a proposal, follow the World Bank guidelines, and then when they meet the criteria, monies are then paid directly to the service providers. So again, assemblies who pass the UDG are also responding, and monies are being transferred to them. And then you come to the fifth source, which is the IGF. assemblies on their own, by law, can raise local revenues through property tax, through market tolls, lorry tolls. So it becomes an exaggeration for someone to say that assemblies are shutting down because they don't have...
Right.
No way.
Okay. Dr. Mahama, let me quickly chip in this. Is it also possible that monies have been released by central government, that is the District Assembly's Common Fund, has been released by the fund administrator, but it is yet to hit the account of these assemblies?
No, it has hit the account. That's what I'm
right. Hold the line there. Hold the line there. I'm going to play to you the soundbite of the Ewutu Senya East Municipal Assembly, the District Chief Executive, who confirmed that for 9 months, the Assembly has not received its allocation of the District Assembly's Common Fund. I'm playing that for you to listen, and we'll come back to continue with the discussion.
Okay.
The past 9 months, no common fund money has freezed. So if you have targeted that funding that is funded by a particular, because a project starts based on the funding source. So I'm doing this project, I'll fund it from either SIF, I'm funding from Eduna, funding from Common Fund. So you expect that the money comes and you pay those people. There is a certificate and you can't pay them because the fund source is not yet in. The fund is not yet in, so you can't pay. So that becomes a halt the project until it's paid for.
Right. So, Dr. Mahama, that is the District Chief Executive, the Municipal Chief Executive of the Ewutu Senya East Municipal Assembly. Now, he says that for 9 months.
My brother, you have to understand. That district is a new district. They were just created the last quarter of last year.
Right.
So the administrative processes of opening an account through the controller and Bank of Ghana, it took some time. Do you understand? So that is Kaswa.
Right.
So,
that's Kaswa.
For them, their situation is understandable.
Right. Doctor, hold on for me now. Let me go back to the northern region. Now, that is southern Ghana. Now, Hashmin Mohammed, if you are there. Now, Doctor wants to know which assemblies you visited and if any of the assemblies you visited is one of the new ones, because the claim is that the new ones certainly have difficulty accessing their fund due to some administrative processes. Hello, Hashmin. Hello, Hashmin. Right, Hashim Mohammed is off the line. I'll get him back on the line. And Dr. Mohammed, if you are there, so you were explaining that there are some assemblies that have not received their funds because of administrative processes.
As at now, all of them have received. You see, the time that I was referring to, the new assembly, last year we created 46 new assemblies, which were carved out of the old district assembly. They have to establish their management unit. You see, management unit is a special unit that is created from the local government service and the controller accountant general, where salaries of these assemblies, where monies from the DACF, from the EEG are paid directly to them. So if an assembly does not have a management unit,
right,
it takes some time. But the point I'm making here is that as we speak now, all district assemblies, including the new ones, have received their fourth and first quarter for this year. They have all also received the first quarter, that's the direct transfers from the Ministry of Finance.
Right.
The second quarter is going to be released this year. All assemblies which also passed the FOAT have also received their district development fund, except the 2% investment component.
Right.
And I'm saying that assemblies by law are also supposed to generate local revenue, which we call the IGF, property tax, market tools. So how can an assembly sit and say that all these transfers that we have done within this year, they haven't received and they are in the break of bankruptcy?
Right.
It is an exaggeration.
Right. Dr. Mahama, hold it. Let's try and see if perhaps some of these assemblies we visited in the northern region have peculiar cases. Now, Hasmi Mohammed, are you back on the line?
Yeah, Bright, I can hear you.
Right, thanks so much. Now, Dr. Mahama wants to know, for instance, now, which assemblies did you visit and if these are newly created assemblies?
Hello, Bright, come again.
Hashmin, if you can hear me well, Dr. Mahama is suggesting that some assemblies have peculiar problems with administrative processes. Now, tell us which assemblies you visited and if any of them are one of the new ones.
Well, I have visited both the newly created ones and then assemblies that have also been existing for several decades now.
Can you name some of them for us?
Hello?
Tell us the names of some of these assemblies that you visited.
Well, for fear of political victimization.
No, Hasmin, go ahead and tell us which assemblies did you visit that had peculiar problems. You're not mentioning them, just the names of these assemblies.
Well, I've been to the Sanarivo District Assembly. It is one of the newly created ones. I've also been to the Bushibu District Assembly. I've also been to the Sablugu Municipal Assembly, and then that's of the Tamale Metropolitan Assembly.
Right.
And all these assemblies that I have visited, the situation looks same. Their stories look same just as the newly created one.
So, Dr. Hammer, we have these four assemblies, Tamale, Sablugu, and Narigu. These are assemblies that are in trouble because of this particular issue. Perhaps
no, that's what I'm saying. That you see, my brother, if you listen to me, I visited these assemblies last week.
Right.
I was in Sablugu, I was in Sanarigu, I'm saying that you see, if central government does its part and transfers all these resources, and let's say, due to one or two reasons, assemblies decide to put it for want of a better word, blow up the money. It is not the responsibility or the failure of central government to transfer these resources. That's what the assemblies find themselves in that situation.
You're confirming, Dr. Mahama, you're confirming that these assemblies have received their a share, perhaps the third quarter. They have received it.
Yes. They have received the first and second, the fourth quarter and the first quarter of the DACF. And if you think we want to cross-check this information, please speak to the administrator of the Common Fund. I am telling you on authority that all assemblies have received their fourth and first quarter this year. All assemblies. And I'm speaking on authority. So there is no way by which somebody will visit an assembly and say, oh, an assembly is going on bankruptcy. No, there is no way.
And you're sure that these monies have hit the account?
My brother, you see, I am telling them, speaking from authority, that there's no way. All assemblies have received their money.
But for instance, you agree that Ewutu Senya has a peculiar problem.
Ewutu Senya has received their money. If you like, speak to the chief executive and tell her, Dr. Mahama of Local Government Services, I'm challenging him that I know for a fact that that district, they have received their funds for the fourth quarter of last year and the first quarter. So
Dr. Mahama saying that, Dr. Nuhu Adams suggesting that for the past 9 months, Assembly's Common Fund has not gotten into the accounts, maybe telling a lie.
My brother, have you spoken to the administrator of the District Assembly's Common Fund?
I haven't, but I visited the district chief executive on Friday, and he told me that for 9 months they have not received the District Assembly Common Fund.
People don't understand it. You see, when they receive the fourth quarter, they think that it belongs to the previous years. You see, they get confused with that. The fourth quarter of the allocation is normally paid in the following year, so it's counted as the first quarter of receipt.
Right.
If you don't understand how this arrangement is, you will be misinterpreting that, thinking that, oh, the District Assembly's Common Fund owes the Assembly's last year's quarter. No. By design, the fourth quarter is supposed to pay the following year. And so all assemblies over the years, since 1992, have always received the fourth quarter in the ensuing year.
Is this arrangement where, for instance, you have just confirmed that MMDs would receive the fourth quarter of the District Assembly's Common Fund of 2013 and 2014. Is this arrangement prudent?
You see, if you look at the District Assembly Common Fund Act 655, what it says is that, you see, that not less than, if it's even the Constitution, not less than 5% of the national taxable revenue will be shared among all the district assemblies.
Right.
How do you get the taxable revenue? So, assuming that we start a financial year from January, unless the quarter ends, we are not in a position to know how much we have generated in terms of revenue. So, once the quarter ends, then we will then enter into the calculations and know the 7.5%, which means that The following quarter, which will be the second quarter, is when the monies will be made available. So there's no way by which the first quarter, you will have the first quarter being paid. It is the fourth quarter which is paid in the first quarter of the ensuing year. And again, if I make reference to the assembly that you made reference, Kaswa, look at Kaswa.
Right.
Kaswa is a very booming area in terms of the commercial activities, in terms of the properties that are being sprung up left and right. Is the assembly saying that in terms of their property tax, in terms of the market tools, they cannot generate enough revenue to keep the machinery of the assembly running?
But Dr. Mahama, even central government is unable to generate enough revenue. I mean, looking at the people who are not paying taxes.
The story is about bankruptcy. That's what I read.
Right.
It's about bankruptcy. That's what I'm making reference.
Right.
There's no way by which the machinery of an assembly will be shut down just because of lack of funds. To keep it running, at least. But for major investments, yes, there will be challenges in terms of the delays, major challenges, but not to keep the machinery of the assembly running.
You earlier spoke about other sources of funding. You talk about the direct transfer or others, from Minister of Finance and others, as well as all the DDF, and that goes into running assemblies. Now, looking at what is happening to the District Assemblies Common Fund, unable to come in because we need to calculate how much as a country we have earned in order to get that of the District Assemblies Common Fund. Do you think these sources are enough to keep these assemblies running whilst we wait for the DACF?
If you ask me whether they are enough, definitely they are not enough. Definitely they are not enough. If you look at the responsibilities on the assemblies, assemblies have enormous responsibilities. If you look at the law, they have over 88 functions to perform. Definitely they are not enough. Even the DDF, as I said,
right,
only paid to assemblies which pass the fourth. So if you don't pass it, then you are not eligible. Under the urban development grant, if you are not a metro municipality, you are not eligible. Okay. So there are, but the direct transfers from the Ministry of Finance, we are looking at departments which are working under the district assembly, under the composite budget arrangement. For them, once approval has been given by Parliament, that's how much money should be transferred to them. It will be transferred, no matter the timeline.
Dr. Mahama, then let's tie in this. Now, we have always spoken about political decentralization, which we all agree that it has been properly done, it has been achieved. But then it comes to financial decentralization. That is where the difficulty is. Are we able to surmount these challenges, ensuring proper financial decentralization?
Yes, Pamela, again, on this point, I would say you are partially right. Both political and administrative decentralization, we have moved very fast. But all these efforts have been undermined by our slowness in terms of fiscal decentralization. That's the financial aspect.
Right.
Because if you move functions, if you move responsibilities, and then the resources don't follow, the people cannot perform. So fiscal decentralization has been lacking behind. But fortunately, within the past 5 years, we have moved very fast as a country with the introduction of the composite budget. Then we are also developing what we call intergovernmental fiscal transfer system, and then an intergovernmental fiscal framework. You see, over the years, people were just transferring money to the assemblies without knowing the quantum of resources which go to the assembly. Again, we have also transferred functions. Some functions are also kept at the national level. So what is the relationship between the functions at the national level and then the resources that they have? And then at the district level, their functions and then the resources. We should be able to look at the relationship and determine that, okay, because assemblies have so much responsibilities, this is the quantum of resources which should go to them in that order. This is the formula that we are developing at the moment. And I think by the end of the year, once Cabinet approves of that, then we will make another giant step in terms of our financial decentralization. But definitely, with the introduction of the composite budget, and then the DDF, and then the UDH, resources to assemblies have gone up considerably.
Right. Dr. Mahama, thanks so much for speaking to me, head of the local government service there, talking to me on the issues of this assembly. Let me again speak to George Chebafo. He's the former national president of the National Association of Local Authorities of Ghana, NALAC. He's just joined me now. Thanks so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you as well, my brother.
Right. Now, the issue once again is here, district assemblies in the northern region and one other in the southern parts of the country is talking about the fact that district assemblies common fund has delayed. The local government service is saying that no, every PESWA for the third quarter 2013 has been paid, except that of the fourth quarter would have to be paid in 2014. The issue we're raising here is that we have been able to achieve political and administrative decentralization. Financial decentralization is still a problem we're grappling with as a country. What is your reaction to this?
Yeah, thank you very much. Greetings to your numerous listeners. I have some reservations as to the basis for the emphatic statement by the head of local government service that first and second quarters have been paid, and we are left with only the fourth quarter, which should necessarily be paid in 2014.
Right.
I am a presiding member of an assembly, and I want to debunk that emphatic statement that he has made. Notice of transfers have been issued to assemblies, and not a PESWA has hit the accounts of the assemblies. That is even in relation to the first quarter for 2013. So I am seriously amazed as to how the head of the local government service, which is even supposed to join assemblies in advocating for the early transfer of resources to assemblies to enable them function, has taken a position, in defense of the delays. It is so amazing. My point is that you could check from all assemblies across the country. Notice have been served, not a PESWA have been paid. In any case, we are in the fourth quarter of the year.
Right.
How come that the first quarter for 2013 is yet to hit the accounts of the assembly? That is not right, because the provisions that should necessarily ensure that not less than 5% of total revenues of assemblies of Ghana are paid to assemblies for development. It's an intent provision, and that is in Article 252. Government is obliged to abide by this intent provision. So if there's a delay of about 3 quarters, it's a serious infraction of the constitutional provision. Now, let me talk generally about the fiscal decentralization.
Right.
Look, we have heard on many occasions about fiscal decentralization and then composite budgeting. I am not clear as to what exactly this nomenclature means, because, look, staff of decentralized institutions in the district are still paid by their mother departments from Accra.
Right.
As I speak now. The aggregation of the salaries and conditions and the financial allocations of these departments have not been consolidated and transferred to the assembly. They are paid from Accra. So what are we talking about composite budgeting? It is only on paper, but in practice, it is not working.
Right.
So we need, as a country, to ensure that these things work, and then we ensure that, indeed, the constitutional requirement that we should transfer resources to assemblies to enable them function effectively are adhered to.
Right. I may have to say thank you so much, George Sheba, for former president, National Association of Local Authorities of Ghana, talking to me there about the issue of some district assemblies yet to receive their share allocation of the district assemblies common fund. We'll get to the very bottom of this, getting you more, as indicated by the head of the local government. But this is how I'm wrapping up the show, the first part. Don't forget that the second segment, that is all about you. The interactive segment is yet to come. Marianne is getting ready to join me in the studio. Thanks so much for staying there. I'll be back in a moment.